Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the third in a series of Hanukkah candle lighting ceremonies with Israelis who have been personally and tragically affected by the Hamas terrorist assault against Israel on October 7th. We lit candles last night with the family of Matan Lior, a Special Forces combat soldier, himself in reserves, who was the chief sound officer at the Nova Festival. Matan stayed at his post to warn the revelers over the loudspeakers which way to run in order to escape the terrorists, and he was gunned down. One of the many beautiful souls lost to the Jewish people on that tragic day. On Thursday, we lit with First Lieutenant Ziv Hasband, who was seriously wounded in the fighting in Gaza and who has had a fantastic and miraculous recovery. Today, too, the state of Israel remains united, soldiers and civilians alike, determined to defeat the Nazi-like Hamas and its evil ideology. More and more stories are beginning to emerge about the brutality, including sexual brutality, of the attackers against their innocent victims on October 7th, and since then against the hostages. This evening we'll be lighting the Chanukah with someone who experienced that brutality firsthand at the Nova Festival, Gal Gilboa-Dalal. Gal's brother, Guy, is still captive in Gaza, 67 days since his abduction. The brothers attended the festival together. Before we hear Gal's harrowing story and a plea for Guy's release, let's light the Chanukah together with Gal and Guy's extended family.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ציוונו להדליק נר של חנוכה. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. אמן. הנרות הללו שאנו מדליקים, הנרות הללו שאנו מדליקים, על הניסים ועל הנפלאות ועל התשועות ועל המלחמות שעשית לאבותינו, שעשית לאבותינו בימים ההם, בימים ההם, בימים ההם בזמן הזה. זה לא נדלק. וזה אתם עושים?
כן, אבל רצינו רק להגיד מתיר פדויים.
נכון.
ומסיר אסורים.
Okay, we will now see a short clip about Guy.
Sushi tomizo kudasai.
Gal, I want to thank you first for sharing this time with us. I know it's difficult to focus on anything else except Guy, but I know that you're spending a lot of your time worrying about him and taking action to try to do what we can, but you can, to have him released. But so thank you for being here with us.
Of course, thank you for being here.
Believe me, he's in our minds all the time. I want to ask you first about the atmosphere that there was at the Nova party and where you became separated from Guy, and you know, also, when did you realize that this was more than just a regular rocket barrage on the southern part of Israel?
Well, I arrived to the festival really early in the morning. By the time I got in, my brother, he was waiting for me at the entrance, and he was so happy, and his friends were so happy. He took a selfie with me. It was 15 minutes before the first alarms, before the siren started. At 6:30, 15 minutes after I got in, he showed me where they camped. I set all my things, and then the siren started. It was 6:30. We didn't realize it's a terror attack. You don't think a terror attack when you hear the sirens in Israel. You think it's a missiles attack. And indeed, there were plenty missiles in the skies. And we figured that we should still get out of there as soon as we can. We didn't want to waste any time there. But the thing is, everyone were trying to get out at the same time. And I didn't come with my brother and his friends. I came in a separate car. So because we didn't park on the same place and everyone was trying to get out at the same time, we were stuck in the traffic. And we were in the traffic. We waited to get out of there, well, for like 20 minutes, I think. And then the shooting started. A massive round of shooting started. And that's when it hit us that it's something bigger than just a terror attack, and than just a missile attack. It was a terror attack. And we couldn't see the terrorist yet, but I could run to a valley that was next to me, and I called my brother, and that was the last time we talked. He was far away from me at this time, and I couldn't get back to him. And next time I tried to call him, he didn't answer anymore.
So, and how did you actually get out of there under those conditions?
You know, after 8 hours, I think, of running and hiding inside of the, there was bushes where the valley was, so we found places to take cover, and while we kept running far away from where the shooting came. But we had to keep moving, and like in the last couple of hours when I was there, we were able to send our location to a force of our police, who rescued us from this very location. We waited there for like 2 hours until they came. You know, my brother's hostage video, it was released 2.5 hours before I was able to get out of there. Wow. My parents, they knew that my brother is a hostage while I was there, and they didn't tell me, so I could focus on saving my own. Only when I left there, they told me that my brother was kidnapped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And all this time you were hearing shooting and well, you were hiding.
Yeah. We kept running, you know, as far as we can from the shooting, but since the valley was low and the shooting came from above us, it sounded like it was from all around us. So we couldn't really tell where the shooting are exactly, but you know, we saw terrorists that looking around us. He was pretty far from us, but he still was looking to see if there's anyone hiding. And we were hiding. We had a pretty good hideout, so we just stayed quiet, and he left. And that's the closest we got to one of the terrorists, but they were all around us.
Oh. And this time you were with your roommate? You said, you told me
That's
earlier.
Right. I came there with him, with my roommate, and I got back with him. He was with me the whole time.
And you mentioned to me that a day later he was called to the army.
Yeah, we came back here, and the day after he left to help evacuate bodies from around Gaza.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was able to do that, and despite what he had experienced just a day earlier.
I think it somehow helped him, like focus on something else and not on what he just been through. I kind of feel the same, you know. I'm not focusing on what happened to me. I'm focusing on what happened to my brother, and I'm focusing on how I can help him. You know, I lost friends there. I lost people that I know. But right now I have one target, and it's bringing my brother home, and as soon as I can.
So I understand you've been on missions already abroad to raise this issue. So can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I left with a delegation to the USA for almost 2 weeks. I was in the big, I forgot what you said, the big rally, in Washington. Yeah, I've been in Los Angeles, I've been in San Francisco, in New York, in Washington, in Florida. I actually been in a lot of places, in a lot of networks, in the CNN, in the NBC, in the MSNBC, in the Fox News. You know, our target is to try and get to as much as influencers as we can, as much opinion that leading the, you know, the crowd opinions, to put as much as pressure, as international pressure as we can on Hamas and on the, you know, the country leaders that can help us bring them home as soon as we can. You know.
Of course, that's what we all would like to see. Gal, do you have any information at all about Guy, his condition, or did you hear anything from the other hostages who were released, maybe about his condition?
You know, the first video that was published by Hamas, it was the video of him already in captive, the one that is already hostage in the tunnel. I think like 2 weeks later, the other video was published by Hamas. And you can clearly see that chronologically, the second video that they published was taken before the first that they published. So no, not since it happened. Since it happened, that's the last piece of information we have about my brother. We don't know anything about it.
So none of the 100 or more than 100 hostages who were released saw him or had any contact with him?
No, we're afraid that he was taken to the tunnels and he wasn't with the others, because you can clearly see in the video that these 5 guys are from the party, from the festival, and you can see clearly that they're inside the tunnels. But the other hostages that came back, they came either from you know, from other places probably, so they, no.
Homes, I think. Some of them were in homes.
Some more in homes, maybe some of them, you know, moved more than others. I know that the people that came out from the festival, they were hurt when they were taken, so maybe they weren't taken to the same place. You know, I don't know, but all of that, I just guess. I don't have anything that anyone told us. You know, they don't let even the Red Cross go in and see the condition of the hostages. So no.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of anger at the Red Cross and other agencies, UN,
of course,
for not taking stronger action for the benefit of the hostages.
Of course.
Gal, my last question to you is more about yourself. How are you coping with the situation? What steps are you taking? I know that there are already a number of centers that have been set up in Israel to help the Nova survivors to overcome, you know, the grief and the situation that they're facing. So I'm wondering what you yourself, you mentioned that you're mainly focused on Guy.
You know, I went to these facilities a couple of times, and I feel like the people who go there right now, they're maybe trying to get over grief. Some of them got their life back, and they feel like they got a second chance. But I don't really feel like them, you know. I don't feel that I lost my brother. I feel like I have to fight for him. You know, after it happened, I was shocked. We barely ate, we barely slept, we didn't talk even. It was really hard time here at home. But after a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, we understand that we have to do everything that we can to raise awareness. And to put pressure, international pressure on Hamas, and that's what we started to do ever since. And right now we're doing what we can, and as much as we can, because that's the only thing we can do. That's the least we can do for him right now. And that's what my focus is. I mean, when my brother will come back, then I'll have the time to focus on myself also. But right now, he's all I need.
Well, Gal, listen, thank you for sharing these very moving moments with us. We're going to keep Guy's plight in our mind, and we will advocate for him and the other hostages wherever we can and whenever we can. You should know that tomorrow, B'nai B'rith and the Israeli Embassy to Multilateral Organizations in France will hold a conference in Paris with the participation of public intellectual Bernard-Henri Lévy, first responders, and families of the hostages, with the purpose of keeping the atrocities of Hamas and the plight of the hostages on the front burner there in Paris, France, and also around the world. And to our viewers, I want to ask you to join us tomorrow here at the same time when we will light Hanukkah candles at a rehabilitation center for Nova Party survivors with Bar Chinitz. Thank you very much for joining us.